Hi readers, it's Mrs. Lamondo. Today I'm going to talk to you about a really easy way to summarize what you've read when you're reading a fiction book. Remember, a fiction book means something that is fictional or not real. Sometimes we even say fake, a made-up book. This is a really easy way to tell me about what you've read if you are reading fiction. So let me show you first and then we'll practice. I like to use this format. Somebody wanted but so. As you can see, it says here, somebody who is the main character in the story. Wanted. What did the character want? But what was the problem? So how did the character solve the problem? We're going to use this format today as we read a book together. Now remember, you don't have to have finished an entire book to be able to summarize it. You can start reading and then you can summarize what you've read so far. So here I have a book called The Night I Followed the Dog. Let's start reading it and practicing summarizing using somebody wanted but so together. I have a dog, nothing exotic or special, just an ordinary dog. In fact, I always thought he was a boring dog. What I mean is he can fetch, roll over, and shake hands, but mostly he sleeps and eats. Sounds like my cat. I used to think that our next door neighbors had the best dog in the world. Their dog can sing and change the channels on the TV. Their dog always wins medals in obedience school. But I don't think their dog is so great now. Not since the night I followed my dog. All right, so far we've only read 2 pages, but I can already summarize using somebody wanted but so. So I don't really know the narrator's name, but I can tell from the pictures he's a boy. So I could say the boy, or I could say the narrator. If you know the character's name, you should use his or her name. I'm going to say the narrator. So somebody, the narrator, wanted. What did he want? Well, I remember from this page that he kind of wanted his dog to get accolades like this dog does. So I could say the narrator wanted his dog to do fancy things or exciting things. But his dog mostly sleeps and eats. So he decides to follow his dog one night. You can see how, after only reading 2 pages, I used somebody wanted but so to summarize my fiction book. Let's keep going. Every night I let my dog out and he runs off into the darkness with his tail wagging. The next morning I let him in and he heads straight for the food bowl. But one morning I knew something was funny when I opened the door a little bit earlier than usual and I saw my dog jump out of a limousine wearing a tuxedo. Before I could look twice, he disappeared into the backyard. I opened the kitchen door and whistled. When he came into the house, he was the same as he always is, hungry. I really wasn't sure that I believed what I had seen, so that night I decided to follow him. I wore dark clothing so I wouldn't be noticed, and I left my bicycle near the door so I'd have it close by. When I let the dog out, I slipped out too. I took out the garbage so he wouldn't suspect anything. The dog went straight to his doghouse. I saw a light go on inside. Slowly, I snuck around the backyard and peeked into the doghouse. This was not the doghouse that I had helped build. Inside, there was a living room, a bathroom, and a huge closet full of fancy clothes. The dog was in the bathroom. He was wearing a tuxedo and fumbling with the bow tie. When he came out, he casually walked out of the doghouse, across the yard, and down the street. I grabbed my bicycle and followed him. 2 blocks later, I saw a limousine pull over. The dog got in and the car took off. I started pedaling faster. The car headed across town. I thought I would lose them, but luckily they were stopped by a few red lights. So again, I could pause in my reading and again give my summary. So I could say again, somebody, the narrator, wanted to know what his dog does at night, but the dog got into a limousine and took off. So the narrator followed him on his bike. Let's keep going. After a while, I found myself in a part of town that I had never seen before. The buildings all seemed to be empty, and it was very quiet. The limousine stopped. I hid and watched my dog get out. He disappeared into the building, and the limousine pulled away. There was nothing on the outside of the building, just 2 brass fire hydrants on either side of the entrance. I opened the door. At the end of the hall, there was a neon sign that said the doghouse. I crept closer. It looked like some kind of club. I decided to get a closer look. The moment I opened the door, 2 mean-looking bulldogs appeared and said, "You can't come in here." I didn't know what to say, so I said, but I saw my dog. I think my dog's in here. Just then, my dog walked over and said, "It's okay, boys, he's with me." The bulldog said, "Sure, boss. Whatever you say, boss." So here, we could again stop and summarize using somebody, wanted, but. So here, I could even take it from a different character's perspective. I could say, the two mean bulldogs wanted to keep the narrator coming from the club. So they told him, "You can't come in." But the boy's dog ended up letting him in after all. Now I switched up the button so there, but you can see how it still worked for my summary. Let's find out what's inside. For a minute that seemed like forever, I waited. Then my dog said, "I knew you would find out eventually." "Well, now you know. This is my place." I looked around. Finally, I asked, "What is this place?" My dog said, This is a place where dogs come after a hard day. It's a place where we can relax. It's a place where we can talk about our problems with a mailman or the poodle next door. See all the sofas? We can sit on the sofas here. We can get treats without having to lie down, roll over, play dead. And if we want to chew on a shoe or chase our tail, no one stops us. We have no masters here, no leashes, no rolled up newspapers. This is a place where dogs can be dogs. So I could stop and again summarize, but this time let me use his dog as my someone. So the dog wanted a place where he could be a dog, but humans always want dogs to lie down or roll over or play dead. So the dogs created a doghouse where they can be themselves. You can see how easy it is to use somebody, wanted, but so. We sat down. A Cocker Spaniel came by and asked me if I would like a bowl of water or some biscuits. Little by little, dogs of all kinds started coming in. Some danced, some talked. They all looked at me a little funny. But when they saw who I was with, they smiled and shook my hand. At one point, my dog waved to an Afghan with a camera. She came over to our table and took a picture of us together. Being with my dog made me feel like a movie star. Just when I was really starting to enjoy myself, I looked at my watch. I told my dog I had to leave or I'd get in trouble. He nodded. I think he was about to say something, but a glamorous greyhound grabbed his paw and whisked him onto the dance floor. As he was getting up, he tossed me the photo of the 2 of us. Then he bowed slightly and disappeared into the crowd. It was way past my bedtime as I pedaled home into the cool night. I thought to myself, now I'm really going to be in a doghouse. But then again, that might not be so bad. The end. So today, we talked about how to summarize fiction or made-up stories using somebody, wanted, but so. Super easy way to summarize. You may choose to use this in the future. And next week, you're actually going to have reading responses to do. So this will be a great strategy for telling your homeroom teacher about what you read. Until next time, readers, I'll see you then. Bye.